Okay, so today is Sunday, 12th of January 2025, about 10 a.m. Not sure the air temperature, but it got down below 12 degrees centigrade last night, I think. So the fish are not very lively at the moment. The cooler temperature has slowed them right down. But sun is shining. By the time it gets to the afternoon, probably temperatures are going to be up to maybe 18 degrees centigrade. So then they get more lively and hungrier. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I posted a video about winter water temperatures. As I indicated in that video, in my subtropical location, the colder winter temperatures will probably start about now, and they usually last up until about the beginning of March. So there's about 7 weeks or 50 days from now where you can say it's going to be what for me is a cold winter. I have no central heating, and if it gets down to 8 degrees centigrade, yeah, it is putting lots of clothes on. It means putting lots of clothes on and blankets and everything. But in this 50 days, up until about the beginning of March, there are about 40 days when it's still reasonably warm. For example, nighttime temperatures stay above 12 degrees centigrade. But in that 50 days, there's usually about 10 days of colder weather when the minimum daily temperature falls below 12, maybe down to 8 on 1 or 2 days, or maybe even 6 on one day in a really particularly cold spell. Now, these cold spells only last for 2 or 3 days, so it's bearable. As long as the sun shines, I'm still happy. Now, there's usually, at this time of the year, there's usually a 6-degree difference between minimum and maximum temperatures. So if, for example, on one of these 10 colder days, the nighttime temperature falls to 10, the maximum daytime temperature will rise to about 16 on the following day, which means even then it's maybe not too cold during the day. Now, superficially, these sorts of daily temperatures, minimum, maximum, even if it goes down to 6 or 8 degrees at night, superficially these are usually considered to be well within the acceptable range for healthy adult MEDAKA. However, when you keep MEDAKA outdoors in these sorts of relatively small containers, these are maybe 40 litres, 10 gallons, maybe this one's a bit bigger. So in these limited capacity containers, in these cold weather conditions, there will inevitably be sort of large changes in a fish's metabolism twice a day due to the temperature rising and falling from minimum to maximum to minimum, within 24 hours. And in my opinion, this must be debilitating for the fish, and maybe will weaken them a bit. Now, if you compare it to other conditions where you might have MEDAKA, the effect would not probably be so pronounced in the wild, in large bodies of water where fluctuations would be slower and smaller, and the fish can swim to find somewhere cooler or warmer, and obviously no effect if you keep MEDAKA in a heated aquarium where temperatures are constant. And even outdoors in these relatively small containers in the summer, you might get temperature fluctuations during the day from 20 to 25. Fish's metabolism will not change so much in those sorts of very much warmer conditions. Just looking at these MEDAKA in here, as you can see, they haven't really warmed up enough from the overnight low temperature. They're nibbling a bit of food. They're still fairly inactive. Maybe I shouldn't have fed them. Anyway, so healthy young adult MEDAKA, from the if you like, the more robust standard strains, obviously are okay outdoors in tubs in these sort of cold temperature fluctuating conditions. And even if they are slightly affected due to this change in metabolism, up, down, even if they are affected, they're going to quickly recover their strength when the weather gets warmer in March. However, in the past, I've noticed that the more elderly adults, even though they look sort of healthy and active, they may tend to die off towards the end of this cold weather period. And I assume this is probably because of the adverse effects of these temperature and metabolism changes at this time of the year. And it would be nice to see if I can keep them alive, for the next few weeks. So let's try and see if they will spawn in the coming spring breeding season. And I've got some of these elderly adults here in these tubs, which they're outdoors but under cover, and I've put heaters in them just to keep them going through the cold weather period. Now all these fish in here, in these 3 tubs, probably hatched in spring 2023 and spawned in spring 2024 last year. So they're now about 18 months old, or a bit more maybe. And I'm thinking if I can keep them healthy and alive through this cold weather, there's a good chance they'll spawn again this coming spring breeding season, which might start mid-March, something like that. So here they are with their heaters, still looking really lively and mainly happy. And what I have here are 6 strains, okay? Now they're mixed up. There are 2 strains in each tub. I'll separate them if we come to try and breed them. And I selected the elderly adults I had. I selected 6 to 8 fish to form a breeding group for each strain. And the water temperature here is set to about 22 degrees centigrade. Now in here are sort of what I call long fin Miyuki and my Yozakura strain. Long fin Miyuki are just some that I found, and I think they're more delicate than the normal robust varieties, so I'd keep them in a heated container through the winter anyway. The others, normally, if they were young adults, if they were robust strains like these, which are orange and Miyuki, and here there are red caps and what I call strain, yes, not strain, what I call shine, which is not an established strain, just one that seems to work for me. And, you know, I can keep a good eye on them here, see if they're still healthy in this sort of trial to see whether I can get them, keep them alive to spawn again in the spring breeding season. And if they do, I mean, they might sort of survive up until the summer as well. You know, then they'd be well over 2 years old. You know, this one, I have very young juveniles and fry from the autumn breeding season from these long fin Miyuki. Again, I assume they're quite fragile. Well, not fragile, but a bit delicate, if you like. So I keep them in a heated tub until the weather warms up. And we've got a couple of old glass tanks here, which are heated. I've got a lot of fry in the autumn breeding season, and I sort of chose some of the best to try and keep them alive and growing through this cold weather in these heated tanks. Not sure you can see them, but there are quite a lot in there, I can assure you. However, I can't protect all of the fry and young juveniles who I got from the autumn breeding season. I can't keep them in heated tanks for all of them. So I put them in these two large containers. They're about 80 litres, 20 gallons. Hopefully with this sort of larger body of water, the temperature fluctuation will not be so rapid, and you know, they will survive, I think. They're in full sun, so they get fully warmed up during the day. You can see some of them just sunbathing. I think most of them may have a chance of surviving. They'll still be under stress, but I mean, those that do survive, perhaps that's an advantage in that the strain will be have stronger genes, because they've managed to survive the colder weather. We'll see what happens. Okay.